It really feels like the world we're in, it rewards just one thing, doesn't it? Visible motion.
Constant motion.
Yeah.
Hustle. Production.
Exactly. If you're not optimizing or producing something really clear, something you can measure.
And the feedback loop kicks in.
Yeah.
You feel like you're falling behind.
Right. Value is, well, it's all measured in action, or so we're taught.
And that creates so much friction, doesn't it? This constant doing.
It really does. But I find myself wondering about the opposite. What about stillness? What happens when you deliberately stop?
What's the actual value? The hidden dividend, maybe.
Yeah, like that quiet moment.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just sitting by the window, watching the rain, hands just resting. That space.
The space we're so quick to label as wasted time.
Exactly. Wasted time, inert, unproductive.
But this is where we want to dive in today.
Yeah.
Because in, let's say, Zen thinking, that quiet moment, it's not empty at all.
It's full.
It's full. Full of space, full of possibility, full of just what is. And here's the paradox we'll explore. Silence is never really empty. And, maybe more surprisingly, when you stop trying so hard to change things, everything starts to shift anyway, on its own.
Okay, that sounds beautiful. It really does. But let's be honest. For someone listening, maybe someone deep in that hustle culture, this idea, it sounds like, well, procrastination, doesn't it?
It does. The skepticism is natural.
If success is built on effort, tangible effort, how can doing nothing be an act of trust? It feels counterintuitive.
It really does. But it's about uncovering clarity, not, manufacturing it. Think of your mind, maybe your life situation right now, like a pond, a still pond.
Okay.
All your thoughts, the plans, the worries about tomorrow, those are like ripples on the surface. Or maybe like silt stirred up from the bottom.
If you're constantly stirring that pond, trying to fix things, plan things,
the surface gets shattered. The reflection is distorted. You can't see clearly because you keep agitating the water.
So all the effort to make things clear, it actually prevents clarity.
Precisely. Clarity isn't something you create. It's what's revealed when you stop disturbing the surface. So doing nothing in this sense isn't laziness. It's pure attention, unadorned attention. And it's an act of profound trust. Trust that life, that reality, can actually operate without our constant anxious interference.
But the mind, wow, it fights that, doesn't it? It sees a gap, a moment of quiet, and immediately wants to fill it with a task, a worry, anything.
It does. It craves occupation.
So how do we even notice when our minds are too full for this stillness? Because, for many of us listening, filling the mind feels like preparation, like the right thing to do.
That's the classic dilemma. It brings to mind the story of the overflowing teacup.
Oh, I think I know this one.
Maybe. A student, very eager, very restless, comes to a Zen master, wants the secret. Tell me about enlightenment.
Right. The big answers.
And the master just starts pouring tea into the student's cup.
It keeps pouring.
Until it overflows. Exactly. All over the table, the floor. The student naturally gets agitated. Stop. It's full. Can't you see?
And the master says,
your mind is like this cup. So full of your own ideas, your plans, your striving. There's simply no room left. No room for what is.
Wow. We confuse all that mental activity with meaning, maybe.
We absolutely do. But the real meaning, the deeper stuff, often lives in the pause. The space between breaths, the silence between the mental chatter.
So when you sit and do nothing, you're not being lazy.
You're clearing the cup, making space.
Yeah.
Allowing life or insight or whatever needs to arise to actually enter.
The seeking itself becomes the obstacle.
Okay.
I like that, clearing the cup. But let's push this a bit. For someone focused on growth, on transformation, is this stillness truly fertile, or is it just passive waiting?
Does real change happen in the quiet? Or are we just avoiding things?
Exactly. How do we know it's preparation, not just checking out?
It's a valid concern, but it often misunderstands the quality of the stillness we're talking about. Think about bamboo.
Okay, bamboo.
Bamboo can grow incredibly fast, right? Sometimes a meter in a day.
Yeah.
It's explosive growth.
Yeah, astonishing.
But for years before that happens, sometimes 5 years or more, it looks like it's doing absolutely nothing above ground. Zero visible progress.
Right. If you were only measuring the visible output, you'd say it's a failure.
Completely. But what's happening unseen, beneath the soil?
It's building its root system.
Exactly. Weaving this incredibly complex, resilient network of roots. It's gathering itself, consolidating energy. That long period of apparent doing nothing, it's actually the most fertile, potent stillness imaginable.
So in that quiet space, things are happening internally. Old patterns loosening, connections forming.
Yes, hidden connections reveal themselves, things that will support that sudden, explosive growth when the time is right. The stillness isn't empty, it's actively transformative. The action is internal.
Like nature gathering its resources before spring.
Beautifully put. It's about aligning with a kind of natural intelligence. The rain doesn't try to fall, does it?
No, it just falls.
And a leaf doesn't strain to let go of the branch in autumn. It releases when the conditions are right. Maybe we need to stop fighting the current so hard.
Trust the flow.
Float, perhaps, rather than swim upstream constantly.
Okay, so this moves us from internal preparation to, well, how we act in the world. If we stop fighting, what does action look like? Because we're so conditioned, aren't we, to seek the big answers?
The grand cosmic solution, the meaning of life formula.
Yeah, we want the secret to enlightenment delivered in a neat package.
And that very seeking, that looking for the extraordinary, is often why we miss the sacredness in the ordinary.
How so?
We spend our lives scanning the horizon, convinced the answer is out there, somewhere else, always further down the road.
And we miss what's right here, under our feet?
Exactly. It reminds me of that koan you mentioned, Restless Monks. There's one about a monk asking Master Zazu a huge question.
What was the question?
Something like, what is the ultimate meaning of the Buddhas coming from the West? You know, really profound philosophical inquiry. The biggest question.
Okay, the core of everything. What did Zaozu say? Did he give some complex teaching?
He just looked out and said, the cypress tree in the courtyard.
Just the tree, that ordinary tree right there.
That ordinary tree, enlightenment, presence, meaning. It's not hiding in some distant heaven or complex theory. It's right here.
In the bark of the tree.
In the steam rising from your coffee cup. In the simple rhythm of your own breath.
So presence isn't another technique to master, another thing to add to the self-improvement list.
No, thank goodness. It's more like a surrender. It's what happens naturally when you stop trying so hard to be present, and you just are.
Simply being. That sounds so simple, but it feels incredibly difficult in practice.
It is. Because we live so much of our lives fragmented, in between.
Like eating lunch while scrolling through emails. Or half listening to someone while planning what we'll say next.
Constantly half here, half there. That fragmentation means we're never really fully home in the present moment.
There's another story, isn't there, about a hermit?
Yes. The seeker who travels for ages to find the wise Zen hermit living alone in the mountains. Finally gets there, asks the big question again. Master, what is the path? How do I find enlightenment?
And the hermit.
The old man just looks up from what he's doing, maybe chopping wood, maybe carrying water, and says simply, when I chop wood, I chop wood. When I carry water, I carry water.
Just that, fully doing the thing you're doing.
That's it. The most profound spiritual practice might be the very thing you've been rushing through your whole life, trying to get past it to something more important.
Like washing the dishes or sitting in traffic. If you stop labeling it wasted time or tedious chore.
You realize it's just what's happening. And accepting that, being fully with that, is actually enough. It's incredibly rich.
But that takes real focus, doesn't it? True presence isn't passive.
Not at all. You could argue it's the most active state there is, because it means meeting reality directly without the usual filters and stories we add.
So feeling joy without desperately clinging to it.
Exactly. Or feeling pain or discomfort without immediately resisting it or trying to escape it. You allow life, all of it, to move through you instead of constantly trying to manage and control the flow.
Okay, this brings us back to action, but a different kind of action. You mentioned Wu Wei earlier. Effortless action.
Yes, though effortless can be a bit misleading, it's not about getting results with zero effort in the way we normally think.
Right, it's not laziness.
No, Wu Wei is more like acting without the friction of the separate striving ego. It's acting in alignment with the way things naturally are, flowing with the grain of the universe, not against it.
So it's skillful, attuned, not just passive.
Immensely skillful. It comes from that deep root system like the bamboo. It's the result of stillness and observation. Laziness is resistance or apathy. Wu Wei is integration.
So the Zen master isn't doing nothing because they can't be bothered?
They're doing nothing strategically, you could say.
Yeah.
They know precisely when not to act or where to apply the absolute minimum force for the maximum natural effect. They don't push the river.
They become the river. I like that. But still, there's that fear, isn't there? If we stop forcing things, stop trying to fix ourselves, fix situations, won't chaos just take over? We feel like we have to manage everything.
That feeling is strong. So the core illusion, perhaps. And the muddy water analogy speaks directly to this fear.
Okay, tell me about that one.
A student comes to the master again, complaining. My mind is chaos. Thoughts everywhere. I try to meditate, but I can't quiet it.
A familiar feeling for many, I imagine.
Indeed. So the master hands him a glass of water, but the water's completely cloudy, full of mud stirred up from the bottom, opaque.
And tells him, empty your mind like this glass needs emptying.
No, simpler. He's just saying, hold the glass and wait.
Just wait.
Just wait. The student gets impatient, fidgety, wants to do something, filter it, pour it out, stir it differently. But the master insists. Just hold it still.
And what happens?
Slowly, naturally. The mud begins to settle. The heavier particles first, then the finer silt. Until finally,
The water becomes clear, all by itself.
all by itself. The master then asks, did you do anything to make the water clear? And the student has to admit, no.
Wow. You don't need to purify your mind or force the thoughts out.
You just need to stop shaking the glass. Stop interfering. Stop constantly stirring things up with your judgments, your anxieties, your efforts to fix.
That's quite a revelation, isn't it?
It's the quiet miracle at the heart of this. When you stop trying so desperately to change yourself or change the situation. When you stop fighting what is.
You actually begin to change.
Yes.
That
Because you've stopped resisting. You've stopped adding that layer of struggle. And in that acceptance, that simple allowing, space opens up. Clarity returns naturally. Growth happens spontaneously.
The change happens around the non-effort, not because of effort.
Exactly. It unfolds.
That brings such a sense of relief, actually. The
Yeah.
idea that we can stop being the frantic director of the whole show.
And maybe just become the witness, the appreciative audience to our own lives unfolding.
So the paradox comes full circle. By doing nothing in that specific, attentive way.
You allow yourself to connect with everything by embracing the ordinary, just as it is.
You touch something much larger. Infinite, maybe.
You realize you are already whole, right now, in this perfectly imperfect moment. Maybe the greatest relief isn't achieving something, but realizing you were never really in charge anyway.
And that's okay. More than okay, maybe liberating.
It can be profoundly liberating.
So thinking about, everyone listening, as they go back into their busy lives, their full schedules, what's the takeaway here? We've touched on stillness, presence, acceptance.
These beautiful, paradoxical ideas.
How does this land in a practical sense?
Well, maybe the final thought, the provocation for you listening is this. What if that change you're really longing for in your work, your relationships, your own inner peace, what if it doesn't come from adding more?
More effort, more plans, more trying.
What if it comes from subtracting, from simply being, fully, finally, right here?
So the invitation isn't complex. It's maybe deceptively simple.
Perhaps the simplest and hardest thing you could do today, just for, say, 5 minutes. Sit.
Just sit.
Breathe, notice your breath, and let the world inside you and outside you be exactly as it is, without trying to fix it, judge it, or improve it.
Lean into the silence you usually try to fill up.
Yes, lean into it
Yeah.
and listen, not necessarily for some grand answer to pop into your head.
Listen for what then?
Maybe listen for the absence of the question. Listen for the moment when the striving, the needing to know just quiets down. Because right there in that stillness, you might hear a different kind of knowing, a quiet whisper that says, you're already here, you've been home all along.
And if no answer comes, if it's just silence,
Then perhaps that silence, that absence of needing an answer right now, maybe that's where the deepest wisdom begins.